Hello guys, welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be showing you the 3 best decks you can use in the Knightly Armor Challenge. We're going to jump right straight into game number 1, which is the very famous, I think it's called the Royale deck, because he's the famous pro that invented and uses the deck. And we're going to be trying it out. Normally when I play ladder, I hate this deck because it is so annoying to face, and people who actually know how to use this deck, and I've used it a lot, can get so good at it, and it gets so frustrating when they get like a good magic archer connection in your tower, because it's so hard to actually get those things to lock off your tower because they're normally tanked by something. So since it's a challenge where they're going to be knights with a lot of health, especially when they get the evolution ones, if they're walking up the road, you can just place a magic archer like the one we're going to place now, and they could get so much value if your opponent doesn't actually know how to properly defend them. So for example here, he's going to get 3-4 hits, which is not much, but to start a game it's pretty good damage, and you can see that in late game it can actually get a lot better. Here we're going to do an advanced log to kill not only the barrel but also the princess. We didn't want to spend that much since the magic archer, those attacks with the magic archer and tornado are actually pretty expensive to be doing a lot. That's why you have to learn how to pick the correct moment, which is usually towards the end of the match. But oh well. As you can see, this deck has a very fast cycle, very kind of cheap cards. You have to use them very well because the tornado, the log, the magic archer, they're all very squishy cards. So against heavy decks with, for example, fireballs or stuff like that, you're going to want to reserve some of your cards, and you're going to want to be more careful when using them, for example. However, if you're going to be facing hog riders, piggies, or whatever like that, you have the bomb tower, which is right now I would say one of the best buildings in the game. And I think the synergy that this deck has is just incredible. So yeah, it should be quite good in the challenge. You can see that our opponent actually places Evo Knight in the back, and we would be able to actually play our magic archer. However, the Tesla is right there, and we would not be able to play it. Here we actually think about it, and we do, and we play with a tornado. However, he actually predicts with the goblin gang. He predicted what our play was going to be like, and he was able to counter it extremely well. But oh well. The main thing you want to pay attention to or focus or do in this challenge is play as many knights as you can. Here the magic archer is also going to get a couple hits. He gets one. Then the Tesla actually retargets it, but it actually kind of kills the princess, so it's still got a lot of value. As I was saying, one of the main things you want to do in this game, this challenge, is use as many knights as possible. Try to cycle it as much as you can, because what that means is that you will be able to get a lot more evolved knights on the game, which is the most broken card in this challenge and in the game right now, of course. So the more evolved knights you have, the higher probability of winning you actually have. So that's just quick math. So now we're going to place a bomb tower over here. We're going to defend everything with spear goblins and tornadoes. The bomb tower doesn't have that much of a use over here, especially because it doesn't do that much damage against an evolved knight. Well, honestly, nothing does damage against an evolved knight. But you can see that the miner is actually a pretty good card in this scenario, since you want the win condition to be able to pair pretty well with your evolved knight. So then the miner is a really good card for that, because imagine you have a push where you have an evolved knight crossing the bridge or the river. If you put a knight, or a miner at that same tower, your evolved knight is going to tank for it, and your miner is going to be able to get so much damage, because people usually don't defend those a lot. So here we're going to be playing against a Sparky deck. It's a weird choice for the tournament, because I think that the knight is a pretty good counter for the Sparky, especially if it's evolved one. But yeah, you can see that this deck, well, the one we're going to be using is the typical famous hog firecracker earthquake deck that was popping off last season. However, it has a slight switch. We changed the annoying mighty miner, the one that got nerfed, for the evolved knight. So it's basically an improved version, a version that will be a lot more useful in this meta right now. And you can see that this is actually going to be a pretty safe deck. You have good cycle, good win conditions. You're able to get back to your evolved knight a lot. The one thing I would change though is probably the earthquake, because people in this challenge, from what I've been seeing, they don't use many buildings. I would change the Earthquake for a Fireball. One of the main reasons for this is that you will be facing a lot of Royale decks, which is the deck I showed you behind previously, and the Fireball is an amazing counter to the Magic Archer. Here you're going to see the Evolved Knight. Look at that, tanking a Sparky Shot. It literally did no damage, but now you can see the difference when the Knight is slowed down, and it almost killed it. So that's a pretty good mechanic to learn, just being able to keep your Knight moving constantly. But yeah, that's why this deck is so good. If you just keep, when at doubt, just cycle a Knight, because you will be able to get a lot of damage. And not only that, you will be able to cycle back to an Evolved Knight, which honestly will win you the game in this challenge. So that's my best advice right now. Just use as many Knights as you can, since in this game, when there's a broken card, you should just try to abuse it before they nerf it, because there's always going to be cards that are going to be extremely broken, such as any evolution they release in the next patch. So if you have the luck, or you're doing a challenge, I would always recommend to try and abuse that broken card, because it's what it does. It's what it's used for. It's just being broken and destroying other opponents. Here, thankfully, the bomb towers are going to be able to kill the Mother Witch, but you can see that 2 bomb towers are just way too much for his push to break through. And we haven't been playing very aggressively, because against Sparky, if you play aggressively, you risk losing the whole match. For example, if you play a Hog Rider and they're able to defend your Hog Rider with a Sparky, they will have a very strong push at the start of the game without you even trying. So here he goes with a Evolved Knight push on the right side. We're able to just kill the minions and everything else with the Firecracker and an Evolved Knight from ours. So that was a pretty good defense. And then once we know he doesn't have enough elixir for a Sparky, we go with our Hog Rider on the left side. Here again, Firecracker, if you can cycle, this is a deck where you will try to keep everything alive. You will try to keep the Evolved Knight. You will try to cycle to an Evolved Knight as often as possible, and that Evolved Knight will help you keep your Firecrackers alive, which will give you a lot of value, not only offensively but defensively, since if your opponent doesn't have a spell to kill it, Firecrackers can be hella annoying. So yeah. Now we're going to be playing Classic Logbait, of course, in a meta where the Knight is so powerful. Classic Logbait has made a comeback, as you can see by Riley's videos. I'm guessing some of you watch his content as well. So we're going to try this against a deck that I've seen before. I don't know where I've seen it from. I think a big YouTuber recommended it, but I'm not sure. It's basically the annoying part about this guy's deck, which is not a bad deck. The thing is, I tried it out and I didn't know how to use it. I think it requires a lot of skill for it to work like decently, and I haven't played with these kind of decks often. So basically the premise of it, I think it has Inferno Dragon, Lumberjack as we've seen, Magic Archer, Ram Rider. So the premise of it is to also cycle as many Knights as you can, but once you get the Evolved Knight, you put the Evolved Knight in front of the Ram Rider. That way the Ram Rider basically becomes invincible and will be able to do a lot of damage to your tower, or will be very, very hard to defend. As you can see here, however, thanks to our positioning or timing of the Inferno Tower, we're actually able to just wait for the Knight to cross the river, wait for the Ram Rider to get in front of the Knight, and then the Inferno Tower started targeting it. So yeah, I think this deck, one thing it's lacking, it doesn't have Tornado, so it cannot do the Ramieli strategy with the Magic Archer as often, or it cannot actually do it as long as you don't place your cards in front of the tower. So that's one thing to actually watch out when your opponent is playing Magic Archer, because I think it's actually going to be very, very popular in this challenge. One other deck that I have not played against yet, but I think it's going to be very popular in the challenge, is Graveyard, Splash Yard, or whatever like that. It's going to be very popular because it uses the Knight as one of its main cards in the game. So just by having the Evolved Knight, everyone having the Evolved Knight, Graveyard is going to be extremely powerful in this challenge. You can see that he does so much damage there because it was a push where he had his Evolved Knight, and that's just a lot more difficult to stop. However, in the end, he actually took the damage lead, but in the end it wasn't that much because that's a push that can actually take your tower. So look at this, now we're actually going to keep cycling Goblin Bearers as much as we can just to get his any defense he has towards it just locked out. And here we're going to rocket both wizards, I think, the Magic Archer and the Electro Wizard. because we didn't want them becoming a problem with any of his pushes. Now we're gonna drop the lumberjack to the left side and then Inferno to the ram rider. It's gonna be our safest bet when defending that kind of push. Then we're gonna again cycle more goblin barrels. I think that one's not gonna get there because he has his log. Yeah, there goes his log. And his magic archer, he's actually using his magic archers so much. And then look, every chance he gets, he just puts a ram rider. One thing you have to know against the ram rider, it has such a big kind of like, what's it called, like vision radius, where it gets attracted to buildings that are super far away. So you can always, at least that's good, because if not, the ram rider would be so OP. Look at that barrel, actually did like 300 400 damage, which is really, really good. We're gonna rocket here predicting a ram rider, which he actually places. So now I think with a knight and something like this, we actually missed the ice spirit, so the ram rider is going to connect and it's going to hit the tower twice, which is horrible, but oh well. We wanted to Inferno tower in the front, but then we remember that he has an electro wizard, so that would not have been the play for us. And Inferno tower, his evolved knight, see what he has. If he puts a ram rider now, it's going to be kind of hard to stop, but let's see. The evolved knight is going to die. It died before actually hitting the tower, so that's pretty good. The ram rider is going to kill it, and the goblins are going to stop the ram rider, so that's pretty good. He just about gets back to his log, and there's only 40 seconds left. We have to remember that we have to try and get his tower to a rocket cycling kind of range. Look at that princess being super clutch, taking out the magic archer. Thank God, because if not, that was going to be pretty difficult to stop. Here we're going to goblin barrel one last time, and I think then we should start to actually think about rocketing his tower because we're not getting any damage. The ice spirit actually jumps into the tower, which is huge, does like almost 100 damage. And then we're going to log it again, log the tower, just to get some chip damage as well. There's only 10 seconds. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything. The barrel does a lot of damage. We're actually ahead now, and just to make sure, we rocket the tower to win it. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. I hope this helps you win the challenge or just get as many wins as you can. See you in the next one.